When we try to control everything around us, it feels like we're becoming stronger. But in reality, we're just putting ourselves in a cage. Control creates the illusion of safety. We plan, calculate, try to predict every detail to avoid pain and mistakes. But instead, anxiety only grows. Carl Jung once wrote that the need to control everything comes from fear, a fear that is rooted in a lack of trust in life. And the more we try to hold everything together, the more it feels like we're losing our ground. Have you ever noticed this? The more you try to predict everything, the more things fall apart. Because reality doesn't work like a formula. Life is not a system you can calculate. There will always be unknowns. And that's exactly where growth lives. We're used to thinking that control equals strength, but in truth, it's just fear of losing. Stability, respect, relationships, the life we're used to. We hold on to these things so tightly that we end up creating tension ourselves. And eventually, it shows up as fatigue, irritation, emptiness. Look at your daily life. We even try to control rest. We stay constantly occupied. Phone, news, notifications, anything to avoid being alone with ourselves. But it's in silence that you finally hear what's happening inside. When a person stops trying to control everything, they don't lose themselves. They begin to understand themselves. Clarity appears. You start to see what you truly want, not what you think you should want. Look at children. They don't think about the outcome. They just live. They try, fail, and try again. They don't carry that constant tension because they're not trying to control everything. As we grow older, we lose that lightness. We start overthinking, fearing mistakes, fearing the unknown, and that's when anxiety appears. Anxiety isn't about reality, it's about thoughts. Those endless what ifs. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if everything goes wrong? But most of these scenarios never happen. The mind isn't solving anything. It's just running in circles. And the more you get pulled into it, the stronger the anxiety becomes. But here's the key point. When you begin to simply observe the feeling, not fight it, not run from it, it starts losing its power. You're no longer inside the anxiety. You become the one who notices it, and that changes everything. Ask yourself, what am I actually afraid of? Losing control? Not being enough? Being rejected? Once the fear becomes clear, it loses its grip. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means stopping the fight with what is already happening. Imagine someone in the water. When they panic, they sink. When they relax, the body floats naturally. The same thing happens in the mind. As long as we resist, we waste energy. When we stop, movement returns. Life begins to unfold on its own. This doesn't mean doing nothing. It means acting without inner tension, without fear. We often cling to images, who we should be, what our life should look like. But the tighter we hold, the more we lose. Because life is movement, and it cannot be frozen. By letting go, you don't lose. You free up energy, and suddenly, you start seeing solutions that were always there. You just couldn't notice them. Letting go can feel scary, but be honest. How many times have you tried to hold on to something and still lost it? There are things you simply cannot control, and that's okay. When you stop clinging, trust begins to appear, not in outcomes, but in the process. And at some point you notice, life starts aligning. The right people show up at the right time. Decisions become easier. Things begin to fall into place. This isn't magic. It's what happens when you stop interfering. Try something simple today. Let go of one small thing, a thought, an expectation, the need to control a situation, and just observe. And maybe you'll notice, the less you force, the easier things flow. Because life isn't something you need to control, it's something you move with. And the real shift happens when you realize you're not in control of everything, you're part of it. And that's where real freedom begins.